Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Maths Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. So today we're going to talk about things that affect the direction of the inequality. So the changes to the inequalities direction. So like I always say, please review previous videos, okay? And make sure you understand them before moving to the next, because every concept we'll be building in this video series will be based on the previous ones, all right? And also, one of the things you need to keep in mind as well, that you have to subscribe and click notification bell, because when I upload new videos, you'll be the first person to know. So what we're going to talk about here, like I said in the previous video, there are two things to take note of, or I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about things that do affect the inequality direction. Is that okay? So these are mathematical operations that when you do, it do affect the direction. And we're going to talk about things that do not affect the direction. Is that okay? So we'll talk about things that affect the direction. I'm going to talk about things that do not affect the direction. Okay? So we're going to talk about these two things. So we'll talk about things that affect and things that do not affect. So I'm going to quickly start with things that do not affect. Okay, I'm going to start with those that do not affect. All right, so those that do not affect inequality direction. So those that do not affect inequality direction. All right, so number one, the adding. So when you add or subtract a number from both sides, so when you add or subtract numbers from both sides, okay? So for example, when you have x plus 3 is less than 5, okay? Now, if I want to make x as the formula, I'm going to add minus 3 to both sides. So it's going to be x plus 3 minus 3 and 5 minus 3. So because I'm adding or I'm subtracting in this case to both sides, the direction of the inequality will not change. It's going to still remain x is less than 2. Okay? Now, the same thing, if you have x minus 2 is greater than 4. X minus 2 is greater than 4. The same principle, we're going to add 2 to both sides. It's going to be x minus 2 plus 2 greater than 4 plus 2. All right, so we're adding 2 to both sides, and x is going to be greater than 6. So you can also see that in this case, that the direction will not change. Similarly, if you also multiply or divide, okay, if you also multiply or divide both sides by a positive. Now, keep in mind, a positive by a positive number. Okay? So if you multiply or divide both sides by a positive number, all right? So let's assume we have 3x is less than what? 6. 3x is less than 6. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. Are you seeing it? And that will give us x will be less than what? 2. Okay? Or you can also put it like we have 3x less than 6. We're multiplying both sides by 1 over 3. Are you seeing it? Same thing. And then x will still be less than 2. Are you seeing it? So because you're multiplying or you're dividing both sides by a positive number, nothing is going to change. Let's pick another one. Let's say we have 2 over 3x is greater than 2. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'll multiply both sides by 3. I'll multiply both sides by 3, and to give me 2x is greater than 6. Then, similarly, I'm going to either divide both sides by 2 or multiply both sides by half. So if I divide both sides by 2, you will see the x is going to be greater than 3. Are you seeing it? So you can see in this case that the direction did not change. All right. And also one more is that one of the things that does not affect the direction is when you simplify a side. So when you simplify a side, so for instance, we have 3x is less than 5 plus 4. Now I'm simplifying this side and giving me 5 plus 4 is giving me 9. So because you are simplifying the side, the direction will not change. Then you now divide both sides by 3, and then x will be less than what? 3. Is that okay? Or if you have something like 3x plus x is less than 3 plus 4. Now we are all simplifying the sides. So I'm going to simplify the left-hand side, and it's going to give me 4x. I simplify the right-hand side, it's going to give me what? 7. Then I divide both sides by what? 4. So x is going to be less than 7 over 4. So you can see, because I'm dividing both sides by a positive number, like we said in the previous video, or previous whiteboard, that the sides or the direction of the inequalities is not going to change. All right, so number 4, another thing again is that when a number is crossing over the inequality sign, the sign will not change as well. So for instance, so the direction of inequality will not change. So when you a number crossing over the inequality sign, okay, the number sign will change, all right, but the direction will not. But the direction of the inequality will not change. Okay? So that means when a number is crossing over, the sign of the number will change, but the direction of inequality will not change. So for instance, if we have 3x plus 2 is less than 5, when this plus 2 let's say plus 3, okay, to make it easy, so 3x plus 2 is less than 3, okay? When this 2 is crossing over, the plus 2 will become what? Minus 2. So it's going to give us 3x is less than 3 minus 2. So as you can see, the plus has become what? Minus, but the direction will not change. Then when you simplify, okay, it's going to give us 3x is less than 1. So like I told you, for step 3 here, that when you simplify, the direction will not change. Now also, when you divide by a positive number, the direction will not also change as well. Is that okay? So these are the 4 things that will not affect the direction of inequality. When you're adding or subtracting a number from both sides, nothing will change. When you multiply or divide both sides by a positive number, nothing's going to change as well. When you're simplifying the side, nothing will change. When a number is crossing, just similar to the equal to sign, okay? Remember with equal to, when you're crossing the equal to, it changes. The same thing with the inequality sign is going to change, but, okay? When, but when the number crosses, the number itself is the sign of the number will change, but direction will not change. Also, just to know that this does not really matter if it's equal to or greater than. So if, for instance, we have x plus 3 is less than or equal to 5. Are you seeing it? The same principle. It will be x plus 3 minus 3, 5 minus 3, and x will be less than or equal to what? 2. So even though it's less than or equal to, the same principle applies, okay? So if for this multiplying both sides, so we have it, let's say 2x is less than or equal to 4. You multiply both sides by, or divide both sides by 2, Can you see? X is going to be less than or equal to 2. Can you see? Same principle. It does not change. So regardless if it's both greater than or less than, it would give it exactly the same thing. So if it's 2x plus x is less than or equal to 8, then you're going to have 3x is less than or equal to 8. Divide both sides by 3. Then x is going to be less than or equal to 8 over 3. So it does not matter if it's both less than, greater than, less than or equal to. The same thing as a number what? Crossing over. So if you have 3x plus 2 is greater or equal to 5, then the 2 is going to cross. It's going to give us 3x is greater or equal to 5 minus 2. Then you simplify. It will be 3x is greater or equal to 3. Divide both sides by 3. Then x is greater or equal to what? 1. Okay? So that is it. Sorry, I meant 1 over 3 here. It can't be 1. 1 over 3. So that is it. So you'll see that this is the concept that do not affect the inequality direction. Now let's go to the next one. Things that are going to affect. Things that do affect. So things that do affect the direction, the inequality direction. Okay? So things that do affect the inequality what? Direction. All right, let's see. The first one is when you multiply. Okay, when you multiply. So when you multiply or divide, when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number. Okay, now in this case, we're multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative what? Number. Now in the previous one, we're multiplying both sides by or dividing by a positive number. It do not affect. But in this case, when it's a negative number, it will affect. So for instance, we have minus 3x is less than 6. In order to remove this x, we divided both sides by minus 3. Are you seeing it? Now, because we are dividing by minus 3, the x now, the less than is going to change now to what? Greater than. Are you seeing it? It's going to change to greater than minus what? 2. Is this making sense? So that what happens. So when you divide by a negative number, it's going to change. Now let's look at another one. Let's say we have minus x over 3 is less than what? 2. Okay. Now, if we multiply both sides by 3 first, we're going to have minus x. It will still be less than. Because it's positive, nothing is going to change. Now, but when you multiply both sides now by minus 1, okay, to get rid of this positive, then x is going to be greater than minus 6. Okay? X is going to be greater than minus 6. So anytime you multiply or you divide both sides by a negative number, the sign is going to change. Now, the most important one I want you to keep in mind is what we call the swapping left and right sides. Okay, so when you swap the left and right hand sides, okay, swapping left and right hand sides. Okay, so when we're swapping, so for example, if x is less than 6, now when you swap this, okay, if you want to swap this, so you want to bring the left to the right and the right to the left, it's going to become 6. It will be what? It was less than, but when you want to swap it now, it's going to be what? Greater than x. Are you seeing it? So if you're swapping the left-hand side and the right-hand side, then you also have to swap the signs as well. So we have 2x is less than what? 3. If you want to swap it as well, again, the same principle, 3 will be greater than what? 2x. Or another one, if you want to say x is greater than or equal to half, when you swap it, half will be less than or equal to what? X. And that's how you do it. Okay? So that is that for that. So that's the things. I know some of you already know this. It's just a good way to remind us about this. So the swapping the left and the right hand sides, okay, as well as multiplying both sides by a negative number will not affect the inequality direction. But the things that will affect the inequality direction, but the things that will not affect is when you add or subtract a number from both sides, you multiply or divide both sides by a positive number, you simplify a side or a number, cross it over the inequality sign. That will not affect anything. Is that okay? All right, so that'll be that for that. So I'll go to the next video, which is going to be two inequalities at once. All right, so these are cases where we have two inequalities at the same time. So for example, 2 less than x, and 2 less than 5, and it's greater than what? 2. So how do you deal with this kind of inequalities? All right. So I'm going to see you in the next video. And please, if you have any question, please send me an email. And if you're still struggling with a particular question, feel free to stop me anytime you see me, or you can drop me drop it in the comment, and I'm going to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much. And I will see you in the next video where we're going to talk about two inequalities at once. All right, see you.